Hey gorgeous, this might be a hot take, but I'm just gonna dive right into it. We're talking flowers and how not to have them in your wedding. So you may have multiple reasons for not wanting to include flowers. For me, personally, it was a budgeting thing. Flowers arrangements, like bouquets or arches, can cost like hundreds or thousands of dollars, even if you DIY flowers, like I've heard of solo wood flowers, or buying them from a grocery store. There are also some good options for you, but I just didn't want flowers in their entirety. It wasn't just budget, it was also my fiance. He has, it's not severe, but he has allergies, and they don't often hit him very hard, but when they hit him hard, it is a bad time. So, we're having an outdoor ceremony, so we can't completely control that, but I figured we could at least control the amount of pollen that would be at a reception. So if you're not having flowers, then what do? Well, this is where this video comes in. So flowers are sort of a mainstay at weddings. I've watched a lot of videos on how to budget for your wedding, and none of them really suggest cutting flowers out of it, but this has been a huge money saver for us. So I know a lot of people like to do flower arches for their ceremony, and instead of doing a flower arch, my suggestion is to use a white tulle or drapery. You can put that on a normal arch, and it looks very fluid and beautiful and a little more minimalistic, if that's the look you're going for. Another place where flowers often crop up is in the centerpieces. And this one I went a little different on. So this is another budgeting hack, is if you have extra time and you're a little bit crafty, you can make paper flowers. So I don't have them completed yet, but I'll just include really quick here a little demo of how I made my paper flowers. So I have this little sheet of paper, some sheet music that I've already cut up. And these I cut into 4.5 by 4.5 inch squares, but they aren't perfect. I don't know if you can tell, but this edge is a little wonky, and this is totally fine. First, you fold it in half, and so it makes a shape like a triangle. So you fold the diamond shape into a half shape. And once you do that, you take these sides and you fold it up to the center. So like this, and you do that on the other side as well. Fold it from the bottom. Sorry for this angle, my tripod broke, so I'm just using the case of my phone to hold my phone up. So now you have this little shape, and you want to tuck this triangle down so it makes a flat triangle again. So like this, but unfold it and then you tuck it in. So there's the triangle. Keep these sides out because now we're going to fold in again, fold into the middle. So go from this corner, you want this corner in the center. So it goes up like that, kind of like a paper airplane. And notice this isn't completely center, and that's totally fine if it's not completely center. If you want to be a perfectionist and do it that way, go for it. But I cut my paper kind of wonky, and it's not going to be perfect, and I'm okay with that. So now you take the other corner on this side, you fold it up to the center. So now it looks like this. It's a little bit of a square. So, you see there's a little crease here where we folded it originally. Fold it back so it makes another sort of triangle. So now it looks like this, and there's a little flap here. So, here, move it this way. And here's a flap. And you see this corner? You want this corner up in the top again. So you folded that up. And there's a little flap here. You tuck this under that flap. So it's all tucked in. Keep the edges straight. And then there's this little extra piece. So you should do the one on this side first. So this little extra piece, you want to fold it in so it's a little triangular. So this side's kind of a trapezoid shape. Fold it in on itself. Push it flat. so it's like a little hat. And then this piece is still not accounted for, so open it up, and then you fold this piece up so it makes another little trapezoid on this side, and tuck it in. And then you have a petal. Fold it open like that. And see, so the tops aren't completely perfect. So it's not completely flush and this one's slightly open. The thing is, since we're making flowers aren't perfect anyway. So this will look totally fine. And I have my little bundles over here. I've been making a few of these. So I would do 5 petals each. And once I have my petals completed, I grab my glue stick. And you take this petal and up until about the halfway mark, just cover this in glue. That's completely covered. Take the next petal and just shove it right on top. You can press it in flat. I like to press it in flat first so that they're both right next to each other. And then I'll open both petals up and squeeze from the inside. So we've got a little pair of bunny ears right now. And I'll do the rest of this all around. So once again, same side you put glue on last time. Or the same, make sure you have the same edges always with the glue, so you don't have them in a weird rotating pattern. And just try to line them up as best as you can on the bottom. And this isn't, like I said, if it isn't exactly perfect, because all your petals are going to be a little bit different, because this is origami, you're doing this by hand. And some origami does look very pristine and perfect. But like I said, I'm of the opinion where if it's handmade, I'm okay with it looking handmade. Alright, so now this is all 5 petals. So for the last time, you still paint that bottom part of the triangle, get the complete bottom, and then you just fold it around, and it will close up on its own. And if one pops off, just put more glue on and shove it back together. I like to press all these sides down really well. And ta-da! There's your flower. And my paper had little edge pieces that I had to cut off because it would have definitely made it not even. And so for this, I'm just rolling it up. Alright, this is not my best one. But then I've just been taking it and putting it like basically top up like this. So one point's at the top and there's 2 at the bottom. And I've just been taping it right to the back. The stem is wonky. I'll probably fix this stem later. But I just have this sticking out of a wine bottle. And that's how it looks. It doesn't look the fanciest, but when it's all put together, it looks very nice. And that's a pretty simple, basic flower to make. There are other ones where you don't have to make separate petals. But this is one I learned a while ago when I was super into origami, and then I refound a video. I'll put that in the link, the video I used for this. It also had some other flowers that you could make out of origami that were decently simple. And so I'm using wine bottles, so there's only really room to put one in each bottle. But you could make a whole bundle of them. You can make a bunch of different sort of flowers and put them all together. And music went well with my wedding theme, but you could use just a normal book. You could use art. You could use anything really. You could use normal origami paper, then you don't have to cut it all out. But this is paper I already had for other reasons, so it was a very good option for me. So they're a bit time consuming, but it's honestly pretty relaxing to just keep folding while I'm watching a YouTube video. I really liked origami when I was a kid anyway, so this was sort of fun and relaxing in a way, even though I was keeping myself busy. The book I used, it was a sheet music book. I tore out all the pages. There were like 300, 400 pages, and it was an old library book of 90s and thousands sheet music, which I thought fit perfectly because I grew up listening to that music. We were both 90s kids. And the book cost like $3 or $4 with shipping. So it was super cheap if you just try and go on, like if you go half price books, or I think I did 8 books for that. But You can find really cheap books like that, like very used books, and it was in very good condition for being a used book. And yeah, just cut it apart yourself, and you have a bunch of paper flowers, and we're also going to use the rest of the sheet paper as like the bottom of our centerpieces. It's not the most eco-friendly, but we do plan to just recycle everything afterwards. That's an idea for centerpieces. When it comes to corsages and boutonnieres, we decided to skip them, so there'll be no flowers there either. The guys will have a pocket square, but yeah, we're not going to do corsages for anybody, and I don't think we'll really miss them. I never really remember that detail, so it just seemed like fine to just drop it. I did consider making some out of tulle, and if I have extra time, I might still, if I still feel like I need things to do, but it might just be a thing that gets skipped. Another one is the Flower Girl petal toss. So instead of them throwing petals, which also is not allowed in our venue anyway, so I am going to make little ribbon wands, and I'm going to let the flower girls walk down the aisle waving their ribbon wands instead. And so that's no flowers, and it's a fun thing, and they get to keep it. Like, I'm not going to take that back, so I feel like it'll be a fun gift for them, and I might make some for the other kids, any other kids who come to the ceremony, just so if we have extra material. And this is the big one. It's the bouquets. So there are a few things you can do instead of a bouquet. So I know I made paper flowers for our centerpieces, but I didn't want to make paper flowers for my bouquet, and I didn't want to make it for the bridesmaids. And my idea was always to have bridal clutches. So I found an Etsy shop, and I got a black clutch with white lace for me. My wedding colors are black, white, and purple. So I have a black and white one for me, and I also got myself a plain white one in case I change my mind. And all of my bridesmaids have a purple-backed clutch with white lace, and they can carry that down. But the clutches are just one example. I've seen people, I've only ever seen flowers in person, I'll admit it, but online I've seen people carrying lanterns or people holding books. Or honestly, if it's anything like where I live, I know some places everybody walks up one at a time, like one at a time, all the groomsmen, one at a time, all the bridesmaids. Where I live, the groomsmen and bridesmaids are paired up, so there's one groomsman and one bridesmaid, and you can just have them link arms. They don't have to hold anything. They can just walk down the aisle if you would really prefer that, and it'll be totally fine. So as far as flowers go, if you don't want them at your wedding, those are a lot of very viable options that you could do instead. And if you have other ideas, I would love to hear them. These are just what I came up with. But if you have other ideas of ways you could just get rid of flowers, or ways that you could otherwise decorate that use other, maybe more eco-friendly materials, there's like a different kind of, maybe like seed paper to make paper flowers. I would just love to hear any input. And if you're someone who really believes flowers belong at a wedding and I'm totally wrong, I'd love to hear your perspective on that too. This is just another budget-saving tip that isn't really talked about or expected. And for someone who's more of a minimalist, it seemed like a good way to go and a good way to save a good chunk of money. So that's all I have for today. I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you in another video. Bye!